Daniel and I had always been close. We dated for 5 years before getting married. And during all that time, I tried my best to get along with his mother, Mrs. Marta. She was one of those women who claimed to care, but her concern always crossed the line. At first, I even found it funny. She had an opinion on everything. The flower colors, the type of cake, the dress, the buffet. After all, it's my son's wedding, she'd say with that proud smile. I laughed it off, pretending it didn't bother me, and Daniel would whisper, "Let it go, love. That's just how she is." But as time passed, her way became our problem. The wedding was beautiful, but I could barely relax. The very next day, she called asking when she could visit our new house. I didn't want to be rude, so I said we'd schedule something soon. But she didn't wait. One Saturday morning while we were assembling furniture, the doorbell rang. There she was, 2 suitcases in hand, smiling like it was perfectly normal. "I came to help you get settled," she announced. Daniel and I exchanged that silent look couples share when words aren't enough. Her 2 days of help turned into almost 2 weeks. She criticized where I stored the dishes, said I didn't know how to cook properly, that the curtains didn't match the couch. I bit my tongue and tried to stay calm. Daniel, ever the peacemaker, said, "Mom, please, let us handle things." She would nod and agree, only to start rearranging everything again the next morning. When she finally went back home, I thought peace had returned. But a few months later, I found out I was pregnant. It was the happiest moment of my life. Daniel and I cried, laughed, and started imagining the nursery, the name, everything. When we told her, Mrs. Marta cried too, but there was something in her tone that made me uneasy. "My grandchild. I'll move in with you to help, of course," she said. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. During my whole pregnancy, she inserted herself into every decision. She picked the name without asking, bought a crib that barely fit in the room, and insisted we use the hospital she chose. I was exhausted physically and emotionally. Some nights I cried quietly in the bathroom, ashamed of feeling suffocated. When our daughter Julia was born, things got worse. Marta showed up at the hospital with, yes, another suitcase. She said she'd stayed just a while to help, but within a week she was running the house. She told me what to eat, how to breastfeed, when the baby should sleep. When the nurse came in, she'd answer for me. I started feeling like a guest in my own home. One night, when Julia was crying nonstop, Marta knocked and came into our room without asking. "Give her to me. You're too nervous, or you'll just make it worse," she said. I was on the edge, exhausted and furious. "Marta," I said, my voice trembling. "She's my daughter. Please, let me handle it." The look she gave me, pure offense, told me she'd never been spoken to that way before. Daniel tried to calm us down, but from that night on, the tension only grew. After one more argument, I sat on the couch and said to Daniel, tears in my eyes, "Either we set boundaries, or this marriage won't survive." He stayed silent for a long moment, then sighed. "You're right," he said. "It's gone too far." By the end of that week, we packed everything and moved to another city without telling anyone. We left while she still thought we were away for a short trip. By the time she realized what happened, we were already too far away to hear her constant phone calls. At first, I felt guilty, like we had done something terrible. But as time passed, I realized we had simply taken our lives back. The silence in our new home was peaceful, gentle, not empty but healing. Julia slept better, Daniel smiled more, and I finally breathed freely again. A month later, she showed up unexpectedly. She rang the doorbell, and I hesitated to open it. Daniel went instead. They talked outside for a while, and when he came back, he just said, she understood. Maybe not completely, but enough to let us live. Now, every time I see our daughter playing in the living room, I think about how hard it was to set those boundaries, and how necessary it was. Because sometimes love also means knowing when to say enough, especially when someone else's love tries to take over what's meant to be just ours.